Hey, welcome back to the Trifecta Handgun YouTube channel. My name is Brian Thurber. I am the owner and designer at Trifecta Handgun. I'm going to do something a little bit different this year with our new ambush handgun rest. Before, I always sent out an owner's manual with the rest, and it was just a little booklet that you can go through. And this year I'm going to provide that in an email. It's going to be a PDF that you can download to your phone, tablet, computer. You can print it off, whatever you want to do. But I think that's going to be a little bit more cost effective, and it's actually going to work out better for you guys. So let me know how that goes. If we need to go back to the printed version, that's fine. Also, if you guys want a printed version, I will just print this off and send it out in the mail to you. So let me know if you want that also. I'm here to please. So let's get started with the manual. I'm just going to go through this in kind of a video format. So we're going to go through the same information. I may elaborate just a little bit more than what's in the written version itself. But let's go ahead and the beginning just talks about some warranty stuff and some warnings and things like that. Very important for you to go through, but I think I'd bore you to death if I read all that. So we're going to skip it. But please go through all that. The part I want to start with is talking about loose hardware. I have been to the range so many times where I've gone out and my groups were like all over the place. I didn't know why. I didn't know if it was the scope, the gun, the ammo, the way I was shooting, my form, something, whatever, you know. And then you come to find out a little bit later that the rest is not securely tightened to the tripod, or something's loose, maybe the bracket's loose or something. If that happens, your groups are going to open up. You're going to have a very bad day, waste a lot of time, waste a lot of ammo. So make sure everything's tight. Just take 20 seconds and go through it. Just touch everything and wiggle it, and you'll be a lot better off. So let's get started on page 4. It talks about mounting, and that's where we're going to kind of get kicked off here. You can mount your Trifecta handgun rest to any quality tripod, monopod, or simply attach it to a shooting bench with a 3/8/16 fastener. Now I'm going to get into the shooting bench thing. I'm going to make a video just for that. It's a very inexpensive way to sight in your gun or whatever. So if you don't want to buy a tripod, you just want to hunt with a monopod, but you want to sight your gun in using a shooting bench, that's a really cool way to get started for not much money. So I'll show you everything that you need, and we'll have some fun doing that video. That's going to be a little bit later on. Tripods. On the webpage for your particular rest, I put a sample of one that I like, and I chose one that's a good value, and it's also a very high quality product. If you don't like that one, you can go to B&H Photos, the one I always suggest people go to. They have the largest selection and a very good bunch of filters. So if you're on a computer, that's going to be filters going down the left side, and you can put all the parameters in there and see what pops up. The important thing is you want to type in tripod legs into their search in B&H Photo. You're going to get tripods with a base plate and a stud sticking out, just like on your screen that you see right now. If it does not look like that, if your tripod does not look like that, it will not work. So make sure that is what you see when you're going to set up a tripod or monopod. And so let's move on. It talks about carbon fiber tripods. They're a little bit lighter weight than the aluminum ones. They're also about twice the money. So if you want that, fine. I tend to use the aluminum ones. They work just fine for me. Okay, let's go down to time for your gun. First things first, let's get the ammo out of the room. That's super important. I always like to go through my guns like 4 times. If I have a revolver, I just want to go through it like 4 times. If I have a semi-auto, I'm obviously going to pull the magazine out, pull the slide back, stick my hand down in there, look at it real good. So just do, you know, a touch and feel and also a visual inspection. Get the ammo out of the room, because we're going to be adjusting this rest and we need a very safe gun to do that with. We don't want to take any chances. So please, safety first when it comes to your gun. Moving along. We are on page 5, and it's talking about the bracket here. You are going to notice that your bracket is all the way forward, and there is a slot right there. And you may think you need to move this backwards and forwards. Don't do it. Just leave it exactly where it is. Now that's the factory setting. That gives you plenty of room to work back here with everything else. So when I was designing this rest, I put that slot in there thinking maybe I'll put some sort of attachment device, whatever, later on. So it's just room for the future. 10 years later, I've never used it. Don't think I ever will. So leave your bracket all the way forward. Let's talk about the height adjustment. Next step, the bracket height should be set so the barrel is parallel with the base of the rest. Okay, so this is called the trigger guard guide wheel, this little spool here, and it moves up and down. So what we want to do is put that at a height where we can rest the frame of our revolver right on that trigger guard guide wheel, pushing the trigger guard up against it. And your barrel should be parallel with your rest. The reason we do that is it also makes the butt of your handgun sit very flat on your control freak bag, and it's going to allow it to slide and recoil naturally. If it was up like this, it would have a tendency to plow and dig in, and that's going to affect accuracy. I've accidentally done that before, and I can tell you it's no fun to discover that later on that your bracket was set too high. If you look at the control freak bag, you're going to see some lettering right here. I will show from a top view also, but you want to put the butt of your handgun just in front of that. Now when you get your rest, you'll notice that this bag has Velcro on the bottom. I do use the Velcro brand. It works the best. And you can move this around, but that's how I suggest you put it, because that's going to give room for your gun to sit sort of in the middle of the bag and also give you room for your hand to fit on the bag. So let's talk about adjusting your fluid head. This is the fluid head right here. This is the Ulanzi 190. And there is a knob on this side, you can see that. And if I just loosen that knob, the rest is going to fall over. So we don't want that, because that's going to create a lot of unnecessary time and movement if a game animal shows up. So we want to adjust the tension so that rest will just stay there by itself, and maybe you give it just a little bit more of a tweak. And now I have this nice buttery smooth motion up and down, obviously side to side. We can do the same thing. So I kind of want to put everything together for you guys. So this is what it would look like. Let's just say a game animal shows up. I'm going to address my rest by shoving the gun up against the trigger guard guide wheel. That's what it's there for. This gives us a consistent place to put the gun every time. We don't have to look at it. We don't have to wonder. So I'm just going to shove it up against that. And then I want to give it just an eighth of an inch or whatever of breathing room. I don't want to be pushing right into that, because that'll create inconsistencies when the gun goes off. But it's just a consistent place to put your gun. This next part is important. I'm going to take my left hand, or offhand, not holding the gun. I'm going to grab the handgun rest right up here. Now I'm controlling the rest with my offhand, and I'm using it to make all my fine adjustments. Now, something I didn't talk about was this handle back here. And I like the handle to just be an extension of the platform. I want to lay that right along my arm. So I'm going to adjust it, and it's like infinitely adjustable. And you'll see that when you have the rest. It's a bent handle, and it can also move up and down. You'll see that. But I like to have mine so it just sits right underneath my arm. It gives me a contact point, and it also gives me a point for consistency. So not only more stable, but I'm going to be consistent when I go to grab the rest every time. I can feel that on the bottom of my arm. So I'm going to take my gun, put it up there, and I'm ready to go. There's one more thing I want to show you guys. See this little knurled knob underneath here? You can actually loosen that up and move your base plate of your rest forward and backwards along that quick release plate. Now, it's going to come from the factory preset in the middle of that plate. I suggest you leave it like that just to start out. If you do move it, make sure you get that super tight. But you may want to move it just for fine adjustment later on. I suggest you start out in the middle. I did shoot a quick group for you guys. This is 60 yards with the Ruger 44 that you've seen here today. And it's about 2¼ inches apart, which I think is really good for not really shooting a gun for a long time. The last time I shot a gun was in November, and it's January now. It's always a little scary shooting groups for the internet because I know everybody has different opinions. But I thought that was pretty good just for throwing a target out there 60 yards, not warming up, not having shot a gun for several months. So anyway, I will get better. I hope this was helpful to you guys. There are some tips in the manual, so look at the back of the manual for that. Obviously, we have a lot of YouTube videos, so go check that out. And I hope you subscribe to the channel, like this video, and follow along. And I will see you on the next one.